So, updates. First of all, 2018, we made it through. It's now 2019. I should say Happy New Year's, happy post-holidays. The holidays were fun. We had a Joe Bob Briggs Christmas marathon, Phantasm films. I haven't made my way through that entire Phantasm marathon from Joe Bob, which is why I haven't posted a video on it. But I think I am going to post a video on it. But Christmas was fun, and just after Christmas, a few days after Christmas, just before the end of the week, I got a nice surprise from YouTube. My entire channel was demonetized. I was knocked out of the YouTube Partner Program. Wow, YouTube was telling me supplies. Yeah, no warning. No, you need to do this and you need to do that. It's just I'm out. I mean, I don't make my living from YouTube. I mean, I'm a little tiny channel. I have under 2,000 subscribers right now. Some of these videos, they get barely any hits, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that my subject matter is niche subject matter. Also, I don't think YouTube is pushing my videos, so you kind of have to search them out. And I didn't think I was going to be on the radar, but I guess the algorithms, the automatic algorithms, hit me. The reason that I was demonetized is this thing called for reused content, and other people have gotten this message for duplication. But reused content is, I think a lot of people, I think at the end of 2018, everybody started getting hit for this. Reused content, well, it's vague. You read the definitions for it, and it's basically just any video from someone else in your video, any kind of it's purposely vague, and I think the enforcement is very selective. I think you can read tea leaves, you can say, oh, they're doing this or they're doing that. I think the main impetus behind the reason why my channel got demonetized and a lot of other people's channels got demonetized is that what they're trying to do is get rid of audio-only content, or monetizing audio-only content, because there were a lot of channels that I'm reading that got this reused content thing, and they're up in arms because all of their content is original. They compose original music, they compose an original still image, and they have this music, which is oftentimes meditation music or whatever music, playing, or whatever sound playing underneath one still image. And I have a lot of reviews, and I have a lot of videos, I have podcasts up where it's just a still image and audio playing underneath it, which I guess is not conducive to advertisers. They want video, and so a lot of these channels, audio only, basically YouTube channels, are getting demonetized. And I think that's one thing. I'm reading the tea leaves as well. I'm suggesting things, but it's so difficult to kind of decode. Okay, what's the real reason behind this demonetization? It's definitely not. I definitely don't think it's just because I'm using other people's content. I mean, there's been some argument that YouTube is trying to get rid of people who are reposting other people's content with little or no modification, channels duplicating channels, and that's a big problem. I don't know. The whole world of YouTube is just such a weird world. It's something that, I mean, I've fought like over a year, probably close to 2 years, with the whole demonetization of individual videos because of content that's not appropriate for YouTube, the whole adpocalypse thing and all that stuff. I mean, that's affected my channel, and I mean, any content that that was deemed inappropriate for some reason. Though my main content are just review for the past couple years. My main content has just been reviews of film and television and stuff like that and stuff. But again, some of that is somehow inappropriate, and I've been hit with the demonetization, and I thought it was going to kind of go along like that individual videos, and people go crazy about that. They fight that. I don't fight that. I mean, if something gets demonetized, okay, fine, no big deal. My bad. Whatever. But to have the whole channel get demonetized, just thrown out of the YouTube Partner Program, which without anything as much as a warning. Again, it's a little bit of a shock. It's not like my heart. My heart will go on. I will go on. It's because I don't. This is barely anything to be made from YouTube now, especially with a little teeny tiny channel. So it's not. I mean, if I was a big YouTuber where this was my revenue streaming, I'm sure it's put many people into a panic. But the only thing that concerns me is that, okay, step one is I'm demonetized. Could I wake up tomorrow and somebody, or not even somebody, but some automated YouTube algorithm or robot has decided this channel needs to be off YouTube, and all of these hours and hours and hours worth of work I put into these videos, boom, gone. They delete my channel. And it happens. Channels have been deleted for years and years and years, and that may be the next step. Individually demonetizing videos, demonetizing whole channels in just one fell swoop, and then just taking people offline, off the air. Boom, you're gone. So I'm a little bit concerned about staying on YouTube, about posting stuff, about that. There's a few more videos that I want to do, that I want to put on YouTube, but I'm more interested in podcasting. That's where I come from. I started podcasting in 2005, 2006, around that time in earnest. The Pulsing Cinema website has been since the early 2000s, and I want to do a podcast, maybe a new podcast, not under the name of the Pulsing Cinema, something. It'll be at pulsingcinema.com, but a different type of show. I'm interested in doing that. And just seeing how it goes, because this whole thing of being on YouTube, everybody can watch your show, but it's like you've got, the 10-year-old kids on vacation who are writing nasty things in your comments. You've got people who are, you've just got the whole of society who, and my subject matter is so niche. There's a lot of niche podcast about movies, about film. There's not many. I think there is an area where I could still do a good film podcast, because I don't like podcasts where there are a lot of hosts, 5 hosts. I think it spoils the mix. You got all these hosts. They start the show off with, and you've seen these, what did you watch? What did you watch since we like? Well, I watched this. Well, I watched that. Well, I watched this. Well, I don't care what you watched. Just get to the content. Get to the thing. What did you do? And then there's these other podcasts. Well, when did you first watch this movie? Well, I just watched it 24 hours ago when you said you were doing a show about it. Well, that's not really romantic, is it? That's not a romantic connection to this incredible piece of cinema. You said we were going to do a podcast on it, and then you forced me to watch it, and now here are my regurgitation of random immediate thoughts about the movie. Everybody's done that. I've watched something and then done a podcast or a video on it, but there's a lot of stuff about but there's a lot of great movie podcasts. The Mike White in the Projection Booth, he's been doing it for years. I think in recent years, I mean, there's been some changes to the format, but he still does incredible interviews. There's still much about that show that I really, really, really love, and he does the research. Those things are so thoroughly researched. So most of the Projection Booth is just, it's a treat when I get a new episode of the Projection Booth. The Rialto Report, I've really gotten into that, stories of New York in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and the stories of these adult films and the characters around adult films. And it's really a podcast. It's not about the movies itself, but it's about the personalities behind these movies. And it's really, if you're not even interested in that type of movie, it's such an in-depth, it's one of the best movie podcasts out there right now, the Rialto Report. And I've been listening to the Rialto Report really kind of heavy throughout 2018, and there's a lot of guys in 2018, a lot of guys in that world who passed away. Jerry Butler in early 2018, Phil Prince, and then just right before 2018 closed, of course, the great Arabola, Robert Kerman. Man, Robert Kerman passed away in December 2018, right? It was in December. Yeah, I have to check myself. Oh man, that was a real show. Well, for many years, I mean, he did that little cameo role, that little small role as the tugboat captain in Spider-Man. For many years, there were little interviews, little featurettes, little meet up with Robert Kerman, and he was always, it was like he was in trouble. But he held on for almost another 20 years, and that podcast on Robert Kerman that they posted, the Rialto Report posted, incredible. I mean, shows like the Rialto Report and the Projection Booth really inspire me. And I mean, they're inspiring shows. They're great to listen to. You get a lot of information, And I mean, I listen to the mainstream podcast, the Radio Labs and the so forth. The NPR style stuff. I still like those. I find a lot of value in a lot of those. I mean, I listen to everything, but I don't listen to them as much as the Projection Booth and the Rialto Report and that type of show. I don't know if there are any other great movie podcasts. I mean, a lot of the movie podcast is whether you kind of agree or can go along with the personalities and even the person's voice. If you can go with it, it's very podcasts in a way are very personal. You play them on usually like a little machine. It's going into your ears, mainly a lot of earbuds, and you're listening to these things. It's a very personal experience. I never recognized how personal of an experience making a podcast was. When I started making podcasts, I'd make all noises. I'd be very kind of. And there was like a podcast, Film Junk, that I know a lot of people probably enjoy, but they did there was I don't know if I'm like you, if you're like me, but I'll drop a podcast. I'll delete it from my computer if I hear a bad noise or if something happens. It's like, dude, you've taken control of my ear. You have a responsibility to level the volume, to keep it, to not do something that. And this guy just belched in my ear, one of the hosts in Film Junk, and I was already on the line about Film Junk. I wasn't getting the content that I wanted. It's more, to me, content is king with podcasts. You got to give me some information. You got to tell me a story. You got to keep me involved. You got to keep me dramatically involved. Again, this is stuff that it took me a long time for me to recognize in myself of what interested me about podcasts. You gotta just grab me. And so if it feels like just five guys goofing around in a room, that's fine. And I think there is an audience for that. I think some people like that. I'm not putting that down at all. But it has to be, and sometimes people have a chemistry. Like, I think there are some comedy podcasts which have an incredible chemistry, like Last Podcast on the Left, where they have an incredible chemistry, whereas sometimes, even if you're not really even interested in subject matter, the dynamic mixture of their voices and personalities and the chemistry, and they can keep it moving. Again, you may not like that podcast, but I mean, it's very personal. Podcasts are very personal. Suggesting a podcast to somebody is it's a very personal taste. It's always kind of a dicey thing to suggest a podcast. I don't know, somebody will like it. But I'd like to try to do a podcast. I still think there are a lot of opportunities to do a podcast, which is mainly one person, maybe one or two people. I don't like a lot of hosts, you know. There's also this thing of podcasts where people got to drink during the podcast, which I find a little bit juvenile, and they've got to get the clinking of the glasses and going, oh wow, brave you know, you're what a great person. Again, what's that have to do with the content? What's that? I mean, the content is king. You have to tell a story. You have to bring on personalities. You have to review something that I've never heard of. You've got to bring something to light. You've got to solve a problem. You've got to create a dilemma. You've got to create a solution. You've got to the drama, the energy of it. You've got to do that. So it's taken me a long time to recognize that and realize that. But, oh my God, it's getting rainy here. Yeah, maybe when I do podcasts, maybe I can get into an actual, hermetically sealed environment. I don't have to do this in the car. I like doing things in the car. I like my car. The acoustics are okay, great, just okay. And the light, everything. I mean, doing the car thing is also pretty good. I've been doing that. I used to do a lot of videos in a room in the home, but I kind of branched out of that because I thought the car had nice acoustics and was a ready-made video area. But something about doing a podcast, I think there's an opportunity. I think there's an area where I can slot in, and so I think that's really what I'm going to be working at mainly. The channel may randomly post videos. I'm going to try to get remonetized, but I don't know if it's going to be likely. It's a small, teeny tiny channel, and yeah, I don't know if I will likely get, nor do I really care. I'd like to do a lot more in-depth videos, though I like these review videos. I think again, over the past couple of years, I've been able to evolve a kind of type of video, and doing a type of video here, a nice quick review video. I think some of them are pretty good. I think some of them, especially last year in 2018, I was able to take this thing out on the road and really do some interesting videos. So there'll be more interesting videos. There'll be, I think, even more, hopefully, interesting podcasts. So I'm going to take it slow because there are a lot of great podcasts already. And but I think I have a little bit of something to add to it. And so keep checking out pulsingcinema.com, and for any updates, of course, the Pulsing Cinema YouTube channel. It's been an exciting year for my movie, personally. I made a movie called Joel, which was a biopic on serial killer Joel Rifkin. And at the end of the year, it got a nice little review in Shock Cinema. Shock Cinema magazine did it. The issue of Shock Cinema with Sybil Danning and Monty Markham on the cover has a nice little review of Joel. Has some nice reviews of some other recent independent films, some true independent films. Steve Bukowski, Shock Cinema. I love Shock Cinema. Oh man, it's getting rainy. Oh my. Oh dear. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good time into 2009. Exciting things, an exciting new year. And but I had a great time in 2018, and I hope to have a better time in 2019. I hope everybody has a good year.